Hey guys, it's Mr. Burt here. We're going to do lesson 2 in our narrative series called The Small Moments Story. And we're going to be talking about how we use small moments from our own lives to write about and to start stories. So let's go get started. Know that anytime we go to any slide, you can go ahead and take a pause and read a little bit longer or backtrack by rewinding the cursor. So just know you have those options and we'll get going. We're going to move through this pretty quickly. So one of the most important things that we're going to be needing to pay close attention to is that we can take small moments and small details from our own lives to write stories. Here's a few examples. From our last unit when we read The Outsiders, Essie Hinton actually used a small moment from her life to write the entire book of The Outsiders. A friend of hers was actually beaten up going home from school. She used that anger and that frustration and used it to spark a story about Ponyboy and the other greasers that had conflicts with the Socians. It was something that was really going on in her town. The second example is John Green with The Fault in Our Stars. Actually had a friend that was sick and probably used a lot of the same situations and emotions that were going on when his friend was sick in the story about the two teenagers that ended up doing that. I don't want to give too much away in case you want to go read it or watch the movie. One of our own 8th graders last year, one of my 8th graders, Mia Nicastro, wrote a short story called The Shot. This is actually her small moment story. And it actually takes place in the last few moments of an intense game that she was in. We'll be looking at her example on another date. So if we pay close attention even to the most boring moments, and if we can kind of just, so to speak, cup our hands around those tiny moments and just observe that scene, that one, anywhere from 2 to 10 seconds with our 5 senses, like a detective might. Notice what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, what we feel. Or if we have 3 really good sensory details to talk about, that's a good place to start if we don't have all 5. We want to notice, think, and write out every detail noticeable in that situation because we really want to bring to life that this world was real with through our description for the reader. And just knowing on this third bullet point, let your imagination run with possible stories that could happen. Now, you're going to be brainstorming small moments from your lives that have actually happened, but know that at any point in time that you feel a story coming on, that you can change those details. You can run away with those details, make up different character names, or make up different characters, period. You could make up different events. You could change how events happen. Whatever your imagination wants you to run with about creating a new story, go ahead and let it. That's what this is all for. Okay, so here's a few examples from me about some everyday small moments from my life, and in a moment I'm going to have you do the same. So go ahead and in your notes, just take a time to pause this video real quick and make a 3x3 graphic organizer in your narrative notes. 3 squares down, 3 squares across. Make sure that this is about a half a page big. We need enough space in each of these squares to write at least 2 sentences or so, 2 to 3. So one of my everyday small moments was when my brother and I used to play carpet hockey in the living room when I was younger. My mom hated it because we always broke stuff. So I'm going to take that idea, I'm going to take one of those moments and make that into a story a little bit later. We're going to see that example. Another small moment from my life was that every Saturday morning I woke up to the smell of vinegar cleaning the coffee pot, the hum of a vacuum, my parents blaring their weird music, and that just meant Saturday morning it was time to do chores. So I could have taken one of those moments and wrote a story. I do not have an example of this, but this was just another idea. Go ahead and take time to pause the video now and brainstorm 2 small moments from your own life by simply just describing it in 2 to 3 sentences like I did here in your moment. Go ahead and pause the video now. Alright, let's move on to section 2, moments with strong emotions. So this is a little bit different than just the small moments. These are, the small moments up here were just more like everyday, sort of more a little bit kind of boring moments. Now, what we're going to be thinking about next is moments or memories that we have, memory moments that we have that included strong emotions. Here's my first example. When I was younger, I was walking up to my next class and I heard other students whispering about something, and when I got near them, they all of a sudden got quiet. Now, at first I thought this was about me. I actually found out later that it was about a friend of mine, and that's why they got quiet, because they knew we were buddies. But you'll see the example of this story in a little bit as well. It's called Eddie. I changed quite a few details in this one, but it actually ended up being one of my favorite story starts. One of my other moments with strong emotions was when it was a moment of excitement. So our first moment was a moment of probably anxiety and nervousness. My second moment was of excitement when I was on a soccer team and our team was tied. We had to win the game to advance the championship. If we tied, we still lost. We got a free kick from a foul, and my teammate actually ended up scoring a goal, and we went on to the championship and won. Now what you're going to see in the next one, that's going to be important. That's what we see in the next one. But for now, go ahead and take a pause on this video, and I want you to brainstorm 2 small moment events that included strong emotions. This could be anything from fear to love to nervousness to anxiety to excitedness to sadness to any kind of emotion that's strong for you. Just pick out a strong emotional memory moment or 2, and I want you to write them down now. Okay. Next, we have our third brainstorming sections for alternate storylines. So we're going to just kind of start to think about preloading in alternate storylines. Oftentimes when we tell our friends stories, we like to fluff up the details a little bit. This is what I kind of want you to do now. And ask yourself the question, what actually happened? And what could have happened if something had gone differently? So in my second example over here, I give you a little bit of a glimpse into the story about how my soccer story would have gone had we lost the game and not won the game. So you can go ahead and pause the video and read this example on your own if you'd like to. But basically I want you thinking about how can any of my 4 small moment stories up here, how could they have changed or how might they have turned out differently, and what would that story look like? And I want you to put those ideas in these 2 boxes here. Go ahead and pause the movie now and think of alternate storylines. Alright, you should have a full graphic organizer, 3 labels over here, and then you should have 2 small moments from your own life for everyday moments, 2 strong emotional small moments, and 2 alternate storyline ideas as well. And that should be in your page that looks something like this. So if you're following the slideshow, it should tell you. Here's my first example. Go ahead and, this is my first example of my small moment story with sensory details. Go ahead and take a moment to pause and read this on your own. Alright, now I want you to take a look at all the things that I've highlighted. Look at all the sensory details I've put in this. Go ahead and take a moment to pause if you need to and take a look at all my sensory details. Notice I have sound sensory details. I have visual sensory details, more sound. I have taste or even feeling sensory details. So I've included 3 different kinds of sensory details in 2 very short paragraphs to a story starter. Here's what I'd like you to do. Take a moment to pause this video, and I want you to take about anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes to write a 2-paragraph story starter from one of your small moments that you brainstormed on this sheet here. Pick one of these 4 moments, and I want you to write in about 2 paragraphs the start of that story using as many sensory details, 3 good ones if you can. Taste, sound, sight, smell, and touch. We'll pick 3 of those 5, and then you can use this as an example. You start. Go ahead and go now. Alright, now you should have at least a minimum of 2 story starters. One from the first lesson about my world in 3 senses. Your second story starter should be from your small moment story with sensory details. Let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to be using one of the moments that we brainstormed with small emotions. Now what you can do here to change your story is change the character names of the people that were actually in the real event to what you're going to write. You can change a few events from the actual real event. So if you've seen movies that say based on a true Hollywood story, oftentimes they've changed a few of the things that have happened or a few things that the characters have said to make it more exciting and more suspenseful. You may do the same now. Remember, let your imagination run. So just keep in mind that you can change character names and change the events as you wish. It's your story. Here's my small moment story start with strong emotions. Go ahead and take a moment to pause the video and read this on your own. Alright, now what I've done is I've highlighted the moments in here where I've shown strong emotions. Notice that I'm not saying that I'm scared. I'm telling you that my face was burning. Mom was going to kill us. There's an association with this description that says this guy is scared. We also see that down at the door, down at the bottom. My brother and I looked at each other in terror. So notice that we're showing you we're in terror by looking at each other. And then we also have this feeling of a wave of frantic panic coursing through us. Our fingers flew nervously, probably. picking at clay pieces, watching the carpet. So notice I'm showing you strong emotions. I'm not telling you I'm scared. In no way in here, except for the word terror, did I say I was scared of Mom. I was showing you through my facial reactions, through my character actions by my brother and I looking at each other, and through how I was feeling in this moment. So try to do the same. Take about 5 to 8 minutes and create your third story start. Use one of your small moments with strong emotions. Go ahead and take time to pause the video and do so now. Okay, let's move on. If you go along through the slides, we've done the bottom two here, but if you want to look at the first two to help get you started to generate your story, that may help if you got stuck. You can go back to one of your small moments if it wasn't developed as nicely as you would have liked, and think of a person that matters to you, and maybe start a story based on the day in their life. Or maybe you can think about one of the first times you did something, or the last time you had something exciting happen, and write a story about that moment. How you felt, things you saw, other characters, how they reacted. These are two other ideas that can get you started on your story starters, but make sure you have at least 3. Alright, moving forward, almost done. Obviously, you cannot do a partner talk or share and steal, but I want you to pick out one of your favorite small moments from your 3 story starters to select, and that's what you're going to be writing a full small moment story on today. As you write, you can go through the slideshow and it'll give you a little bit of tips about through these mid-write tips 1 and mid-write tip 2. That might help you. Make sure that you have all 3 of these things. You should have had 1 to 3 story starters from lesson 1 from the My World in 3 Senses. You should have 2 other story starters today. So a minimum, you should have 3 story starters, 5 if you did all of them. You're going to be turning this in on your own as assignment number 1. I want you to pick one of your story starters. Okay, so say I wanted to pick Eddie. Okay, pick one of your story starters, and I want you to continue the story thinking about how you would like to end it. Now, we should do this in about 1 page to 2 pages. So, like I said, pick one of your story starters, and then in Google Classroom there's an assignment attached in where you can begin typing it up. And then whenever you get to the end of what you've handwritten, go ahead and just continue typing the rest of the story out until you finish it. Keep in mind, again, it needs to be in a page or 2. If you have any questions, please email me. Good luck. See you in class.